Hey guys, so I am back from New York. Actually, I've been back from New York for some time, but I had to immediately jump right into work with the 12-hour days, and you know how that is. Also, fine-tuning the microphone. Again! My woes with this thing never ends. Anyway, I might actually need to ask some of you guys for help with this because this is really starting to get on my nerves. I have a studio mic that every freaking time I try to get this thing working, I'm always having to fiddle with the wires to get it to register on the computer. And I thought I finally fixed the problem when I just ordered a new cable because I just couldn't take it anymore. I used to have a I forgot the exact name for it, but you know the cords that studio mics normally use. I had a cord that converted to a 3.5 stereo jack, and that just was not registering properly. So I finally just said screw it, got myself a mic amplifier, and got the proper, thicker stereo cables for that. And the first time I connected it, it worked fantastic. Went on vacation to New York. Then I came back here and it wasn't working, and now I had to fiddle with it and get it like partially in, partially out. Now it's working. I don't know what the hell it is, but it's driving me insane. So yeah, that's what's going on. And so if the sound doesn't sound exactly right, blame it on that. Anyway, the reason for this video is to let you guys know that I am back. And yes, I'm working on videos. And as far as the sword stuff goes, well, as far as videos go, period, I have some good news and some not so good news and some update news. Okay, the good news is that my plan to record some sword stuff while I was in New York, it more or less happened. I was able to get my brother to record some sword stuff with me. I got some footage of us kind of, clanging plastic blades a little bit, mostly just so I can show certain applications. I got stances recorded, got things recorded, so I got a video in the works for that, and that will, be out soon. The somewhat bad news, however, is that some of the footage wasn't very good. Some of the footage I had to have my brother hold the camera, well, my phone really, okay camera, whatever. And as much as I kept asking him to keep it steady, some of the shots aren't very steady. I can work with them, but it's eh. But then there was another spot where I actually had it stationary, and we ended up not coming out very well. So some of the footage, some of it I'm going to be able to use, but it's not all that great. And there's other things that I just can't use. Still, I'll still be able to get something out. So there's that. Now for the update news. The sword video was going to be the next video I put out. But because of the last video I put out, besides my I'm going to New York video, it seems that some people have forgotten exactly where my political leanings tend to lie, and some people are accusing me of some really stupid shit. So the next video I put out is most likely going to be me reminding people of what you should expect when I put up political style rants on my channel. Because it seems some people have completely freaking forgotten how I gather information, where I tend to lie on certain things, and how much thought I put into them before I put them out. So I know I have a lot of newer people on, and I've been on for a while, and I hadn't put out videos in a while in that vein, so I gotta expect some people to forget, but yeah, it looks like some reminders on order, as well as a bit of an explanation as to why I stated what I stated in that video. Expect me to not be all that nice in that particular video because some people have it coming. So yeah, that's what's going on with that. I had something else in mind though that I guess I might as well get into now while we're waxing a little bit serious, and I guess it's sort of touching on what I'm going to end up touching on a little bit. What I touched on a little bit in the last video, and what I might be touching on the other one besides the sword one. And it's pretty much that you have to be careful how information is presented to you. A good example of that is the current situation that we're dealing with when it comes to police brutality in the United States, and the fact that we have so many people getting shot. Lately, there was a lot of focus in the news of the two black men who were unarmed but ended up getting shot and killed anyway. One that really stands out was the man who was in his car who told the police that he had a license to carry, reached for the identification as he was instructed, and still ended up being shot and killed. This highlights a major problem in the U.S. And the way it's being framed right now is, the police are constantly killing black people, which the statistics are there. I don't need to make an argument for this. It's something that is fairly well known. What is not being reported on, however, is that they're not the only ones being shot. The way the media is portraying it all, it's a problem that black people have to. The media is either portraying it as something that black people have to deal with, or something that black people are pushing. In other words, like they're the ones going out and trying to make this an issue. That's the way it's always being framed. But it's never really being framed as a straight up police brutality problem or a police culture problem. And I find this interesting considering that in just a few days, there was that white guy who had gotten shot, 19-year-old white dude who had thrown to the ground, shot in the back and killed. You didn't really see much of that in the news, at least not in mainstream media. The information is mostly being presented as, black people getting shot, the cops are after black people. Yes, there's evidence of that, but what it really is evidence of, if you really look at the whole picture, is brutality against those without means. Because if you really decide to take a good look at the statistics, you will find that a whole lot of people of different skin colors are getting shot. And when you look at it, you realize that a lot of them don't exactly have much in the way of money. They're not exactly of a higher social class. But that's not being talked about. Because if it was being framed in that way, there would probably be more outrage. I'm not saying that there isn't outrage now on all sides of the fence. I mean, it's getting to the point now where even, those who normally be like, well, the police are doing their jobs, even they are now beginning to go, okay, this is getting out of hand. But it's still being framed as mostly a black problem, quote unquote. It's mostly being framed that way. But if it was framed from the straight beginning of, just straight up as the police are basically acting more as a paramilitary unit rather as civilian police, if it was framed that way, we'd probably have more of a debate on it that wouldn't just be framed in terms of race. And this is not discounting the importance of the racial issue because it's there. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. It does. But it's not the only thing that is causing these civilian deaths. And that is not being reported on. That is not, the narrative is not being framed in that way. And this is why you have to be very careful how you accept, this sort of information being given to you. It's being packaged a certain way. And there's a reason why it's being packaged a certain way. Because let's face it, if it was packaged as a straight up, it's a police brutality problem. And you showed the evidence of it, actually showing all the different white people who have been getting shot as well. In fact, it's something I've known for a while. Even in New York, there were white people getting shot left and right that never got reported. If they framed it in that way, then there'd be more public outrage, more universal outrage, and then they would be forced to have to do something about it. But when you frame it as black people are getting shot by the cops thing, then, to quote the Joker from The Dark Knight, people are just going to accept it because it's all going according to plan. It's part of the plan. People expect this shit. Another black guy got shot. Maybe he deserved it. I doubt whatever petty crime they were doing. Unless they're straight up causing murdering sprees in the street, no one deserves to be executed in the street for petty crimes. I don't give a damn how much you want to try to frame that argument. But it usually ends up being this argument. It always ends up being this character assassination thing when you frame it in the way it normally is framed. That, let's dig in this guy's past to find out if he was a model citizen or not. Oh, maybe he did something to excite the cops. It's always framed in that way. But if you show it wait a minute, people from all walks of life are getting, all different skin colors. I shouldn't say all walks of life, but people from different skin colors are all getting shot. Wait a second. Okay, now hold on. Now, okay, there might be a problem here. And there was enough evidence of that. I mean, look at what happened during the Occupy movement and during like for instance, when the cops were going and macing college students in the face, who were just sitting there in peaceful protest. that was a sign right there. But of course, oh well, those students were causing trouble, so they deserve it. There's always this whole thing of, oh, if these people are causing trouble, then they deserve what beatings they get. Which, that in and of itself is something that really needs to be examined. That's on a whole other topic in and of itself. But just imagine what happens when you frame the argument more in a universal sort of light, rather than as a, oh, it's just this group of people's problem. A group of people who already have a certain stigma on them and already have a certain public perception about them. You know, so, oh, it's just their problem, or well, let's just frame it in that way. Then the narrative changes, and that's done on purpose. If you still may be unconvinced that somehow changing the focus changes people's perceptions of it, just look at what's going on with drugs right now. During the 80s, when everyone's like, we need a war on drugs, we need a war on drugs. If you were doing the drugs that they were focusing on, marijuana, crack, you know, that type of stuff, you got your ass thrown in jail for at least 20 years. Just for getting high. When they were framing it as mostly a minority problem or a undesirables problem, they were like, we got to do something, these drug dealers need to be taken care of. These, made a big deal about it. Throw them in jail. Throw away the key. But now that we are seeing meth epidemics in, a lot of poor white neighborhoods in the Midwest, and now that we're seeing opioid abuse and all that, now all of a sudden I'm seeing documentaries in the media about, oh, this is a crisis. We need to do something for these people. Because now it's seen as a universal problem. Now it's not just affecting them anymore. Now the compassion's coming out. It's funny how when you repackage the information, when you show it in a different light, it brings different things out in the general population. That's something that needs to be focused on. That in itself is something that deserves a national discussion about. Will we see it? Most likely not. I don't really have much faith in humanity to actually see a real discussion like that. But it's something that's worth noted for the few of us who are willing to, every now and then wake up from the sleep of everyday living and realize what the fuck is going on. There's a reason why I say that what we're doing is playing a game. Life is a game. There are rules. There are, certain set scenarios. And people just sleepwalk through it all the freaking time. This is a good example of that. I didn't want to end this on a somber note, but that just want to touch on that. You got to be careful about, how easily you accept, news that's packaged to you a certain way. How it's packaged to you will sometimes alter your perceptions of what's going on, especially if you have a lot of preconceived biases of the parties involved. If you're not willing to every now and then periodically go through self-examination of your perceptions of other people, of different groups of society at large, you can fall for this shit. Gotta be very careful. So, yeah, what's that? One more thing, different topic now. I'm not making this official yet, but I am seriously re-examining how I put out videos on YouTube, because I've been hating this for a long time. How my job and lately things in life have been keeping me from making the types of videos that I want to make. I feel it is not only unfair to you guys, but it is also infuriating for me, where every other day I have an idea for a new video, and the list of videos I now want to make is getting ridiculously long, and I have a lot of catching up to do, but I almost never seem to have the time to do it. I am trying to find a way to force time and to make time, and I'm tentatively trying to work out a schedule. If I can make it work, if I can somehow make the idea I'm thinking about work, we might be seeing a lot more from me, and not only that, but also see a set schedule on what types of things come out from what week. Like I'm trying to set something like, okay, this video is coming out at this day, this video is coming out on like a different subject for a time. It's tentative. I have to try to see how much I can make it work, but if I can, it'll be a hell of a lot better than what I'm doing than what I'm doing right now. So cross your fingers on that. Alright, I actually now need to edit this and then rush off to work. So I will catch you guys later. Take care.